Ha! Funny story, guys. I already unboxed this, but I was wearing a shirt that was a brand that NZXT competes with. Can you imagine how they'd feel about that? So, we are refilming. This is the NZXT Phantom 820 Go Above and Beyond Your Maximum Cooling is the tagline that goes with it. And on the side, this is a 30-pound case, guys, and I'm unboxing it again. I'm like weight training today. All right, on the side, we find a whole bunch of information about cooling. This thing has 3 200mm fans included on the top, front, top, and side. It has a rear 140 included as well, but you can swap it out to a 120 if you want to use a radiator size that's more readily available. Bottom 2x140 or 2x120, meaning you can do a bottom-mounted dual 120mm radiator, so you can have up to a 360mm rad in the top, a 120 in the back, and a 240 in the bottom. Like, wow, mind blown. They give you specs in terms of how large your CPU coolers can be, your video cooler can be, and how much room there's for cable management. Let me tell you, 3.5 centimeters is a lot of room for cable management. You shouldn't have any trouble with that at all. Construction, there's that 32-pound weight. It's fully XLATX and eATX compatible, meaning you can put pretty much whatever you want in it. The original Phantom has been replaced, includes a 4-channel digital fan controller with 15 watts per channel. That means you can do high-powered fans or even multiple fans per channel to create cooling zones within your system. You can also use their Hue lighting system and illumination system for exterior and interior lighting of your enclosure. Very cool stuff. You can have an infinite number of possible colors using the integrated adjustments and controls. This is more about the cooling, which I kind of covered already, although the pedestal that it sits on actually enhances the cooling potential because it means that you can get more air coming up from the bottom. It's not just for looks. That's a reviewer's guide. You guys don't need to see that. This is a nice touch. Check this out. Instead of including a cardboard box with all the stuff you need, they have included a badass plastic box that has everything all compartmentalized and sorted by fan size, and you got your thumb screws and your radiator mounting screws and your cable ties. All that is included in a nice little resealable box for you. So that's pretty cool. They've also got what appears to be, I don't know, some kind of user's manual with like labels and stuff. Okay, we'll figure it out as we go. And finally, you've got a little brochure about how NZXT is sort of ballin', and they have sort of ballin' products, and you can buy them. There you go. Next thing is to take this down and dump it out, and I guess I'll just do that. Oh! The size makes it a little awkward. Part of it is that the case is big. Part of it is that I'm a little small. Now, while I would have preferred to see a soft foam, as you can see, our packing foam did get damaged in shipping, so this corner took a significant blow. However, there was no damage to the case. So NZXT has a lot of experience shipping fully assembled systems in their cases, so I would hope that whatever they've done to design the packaging of this case, they have considered that. You can see it's up to 2.5 inches thick in some places. So as long as it doesn't get hit in the same place really hard a couple times in a row, you should be okay. Just something that you want to, let's see if I can lift this out. Just something you want to consider, guys, is that this Phantom 820 did get shipped to me by ground from the US. So this is pretty much, I don't know, you can't say worst case scenario because the couriers will always find another way to beat something up more in transit, but this is not something that was shipped on a pallet and was 100% protected during transit. So while I love soft packing foam, the packing material, ouch, whoa, that got me really good. Did you hear that? The packing material did hold up in transit, so I can't criticize it too much. Let's go ahead and peel off the plastic. This is as far as we got last time, so this is my first time actually seeing the case itself. As you can see, it's, wow, that was quite the static shock there. Yeah, oh, it is quite large. It is, here, we'll start at the back actually, because that'll give you guys a better idea of how freaking big this is. So that is, like, hold on a second, how does this work? Give me a sec, guys. And I get it, so you can move around the 120 millimeter or 140 millimeter cooling fan. That's a neat feature. So if it's going to interfere with a radiator, you can move it down. If you want it closer to your VRM, you can move it up. Very cool stuff. 4 included water cooling grommets, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 PCI slots, meaning you can install even the longest XL ATX motherboards with no difficulty. Bottom mounted power supply with very, very high pedestal. Check this out. So you can see these pieces right here that support the power supply keep it nice and high off the bottom of the case, plus the fact that the entire case sits on a little pedestal, meaning you're going to get lots of cooling into your power supply. I actually recently had a power supply die due to not getting enough cooling through that bottom fan because it was sitting on carpet and the case did not have a pedestal. Here's the fan filter that can be easily removed and clicks into place, which is very convenient for those of you who like to remove things without, tools and hassle. All right, let's have a look at the side panel. So side panel has that 200 millimeter cooling fan. Very neat shape to these vents, actually. See that? They've got some 3D sort of pop to them, some texture to them. So it looks really neat. There we go. See, you guys can see that. And then the window, I usually like to see a bit bigger of a window, although they are at least showing the parts that, like the key parts that matter around that CPU socket area where you're going to have lots of cool liquid cooling tubes and all that kind of good stuff. Let's go ahead and tilt this bad boy down. Now got another 200 millimeter cooling fan right there. Remember, you can do up to a triple radiator up here. And the way they've designed the top of the case this time is all about cooling. So you see this mesh here, more mesh down there, and this is all ventilated. So you'll be able to get an ample amount of airflow coming out of the top of the case. Front USB, they are not skimping on 4 USB 2.0 ports, 2 USB 3.0 ports, and then all the ports that you could ask for over here. So this looks like switching between the various, you know what? I'm gonna have to figure out how this works, but there's your front panel, headphone and microphone. There's your power switch, there's your reset switch. Here is some of that included lighting effect stuff that they got going on. Let's go ahead and have a look at the front. So the front reminds me very much of the original Phantom. In fact, not a whole lot has changed about the styling, although there's more filtered intakes, which you can go ahead and pop right back into place. There are 4 5 1/4 inch bays. Ah, cool, card reader, love that. SD card reader is included. You can change the LED modes, change the hues using the dial right here, and then you can control the I/O LED. Oh, that's really cool. Neatsy keen. And then there's more lighting effects here and under here. Here, check this out. So there's more lighting effects right around there. Very, very cool. Okay, so going back to the front, what else we got here? So, very nice finish. NZXT has done traditionally a really good job of color matching their plastic to their metal. So check this out. This is about as close as you can get. See, the challenge is that the plastic has a much smoother finish than paint. So you end up with, no matter what you do, it'll always look a little bit different. But as soon as you get more than, I'd say, about 2 to 3 feet away, you can't tell the difference at all, which is about as good as it gets. Other side panel has some texture, some 3D-ness to it. So this pops out. This gives you lots of room for cable management and anything else you'd need to get over to your drives in all likelihood. Let's finish with a look at the bottom of the case, which, as I mentioned before, is sitting up on this pedestal that has lots of holes in it for ample airflow to get in the sides here. There you go, see the sides? As well as through the bottom if it needs to. There's all that filtered intake, whatnot, and there are the rubber feet that the entire case sits on. You know what? Let's turn the camera off while I open it up, and then we'll be back in a moment. Actually, this is something I recognize from the Switch. So you take these 2 screws out, and then you can actually turn the side panels into a bit of a toolless thing here. So you just go ahead and move that down, pop the side panel off, and then you can lock it back into place just like that. Now the inside of this thing is actually fairly modular, so I want to start with those features at the very beginning here. So you can actually slide out this entire bank of hard drive cages. So the included hard drive sleds can support either 3.5-inch drives completely toollessly or 2.5-inch SSDs on the middle of them without any difficulty. So you just kind of slide those in from the back. You'll have to open up the sort of the opposite side panel from what you'd normally expect in order to install a drive. And once you actually get a drive mounted in these, they'll be quite a bit more rigid. So you could just have to kind of arrange them carefully one time And then there you go. So those are sitting in there. Once you do that, you can actually remove 4 screws, take this piece out, and that's how you're going to mount that dual 120 or dual 120 or dual 140 millimeter radiator in the front that's going to draw air up from the bottom of the pedestal here. This one doesn't come out by the look of things. Oh, yes it does. Oh, cool. Okay, so you can pull this one out too. You can mount a 120 or 140 millimeter fan here using just 2 holes, and then you can actually adjust it. If you want it to point here, then you just tighten the screw. You loosen the screw. If you want it to point up more towards the CPU socket, you go ahead and tighten it right there, and the fan will sit kind of like that, pulling air away over the hard drives and then up in this direction. Lots. Oh yeah, right. So you can take out these 3 5¼ inch bays as well, and you can see inside here that there's a secondary sort of top here, so you can just move things around and take them out as you see fit. I mean, obviously you can't, like, I don't mean move things around, but move them sort of physically out of the case. If you don't need drive mounting here and you just want that 200 millimeter fan blowing air right in, so that's very cool stuff. I mentioned this before, but you've got ample support for no matter what kind of power supply you put in here, and the cable routing options are fantastic. So I often complain about this when you've got a billion cable management holes up here, and then you've got like 1 right next to the power supply, because it's pretty simple math. What goes in here must come out there at some point. NZXT has taken that sort of to the next level here, and they've got 3 cable management options right next to the power supply, 1 slightly above it. This is more like for your front panel audio or whatever else, and then you've got lots of different options up here for where it's going to come out. That triple 120 millimeter radiator that I talked about before, that'll go right here, but right now there's a 200 mil fan that's mounted in the top in its stead, so you can easily pull that out. Here's the included case lighting strip, so that's going to light up your case. Well, that's what case lighting does, I suppose. And let's have a look at how many more 3.5 inch or 2.5 inch drives can be mounted in the other side here. Oh, I just stepped on a Molex connector. I'm gonna need that later, but not now. Ow, that hurt. Okay, I'm good. I'm okay. Thanks for asking. 4 3.5 inch sleds or 2.5 inch sleds, whatever you prefer, are in there. Then from the back, you can see there is tons of room for cable management, because you've got all this space that is, I'm trying to hold these out of the way, all this space here, remember it starts here and actually bulges out over here, so all this space here plus the space that's in here as well, so that's a total of 3.5 centimeters. No big deal. Huge CPU cutout hole. So that's really convenient because you won't have to remove the motherboard in order to mount a different CPU cooler that has a backplate. And check this out, they include an individually sleeved 8-pin cable extension. That's fantastic. So they're assuming you got this super long case and a super tall case, and your power supply probably won't have a long enough 8-pin. They go ahead and throw that in for you. I think that's like a $6 or $8 or $10 value or something like that. That's what typically these individually sleeved things get charged. So yeah, that's awesome. Included cables. I mean, look at this. Because of all the different stuff that this case has going on, there are a lot of included wires that you're going to need to route. So this is power for, in all likelihood, your included fan controller and or lighting system. These, oh boy. You know what? I don't actually necessarily want to speculate as to what each of these individual power connectors are powering, but you've got a SATA power and a Molex power. I'm going to assume you need those for something. You've got a fan. Here we go. Fan harnesses that you can go ahead and plug fans into if you want to use them with the integrated fan controller. You can see they're actually labeled F, R, F, T, so front, rear, top, and then there's probably one more zone. I'm trying to look for a B one. IS, okay, sure, whatever. So there's a ton of those. You've got the integrated USB 3. You must have 2 headers for front USB 2. So here's one of them. There must be a header somewhere. Here's the other one for front panel audio, which is, no, USB 2, USB 2, USB 2. Oh, right, sorry, 3 USB 2s. Okay. Given how many motherboards have 3 USB 2 front panel headers, it makes sense, I guess. HD audio, and yeah, you guys are going to want to work on your cable management a little bit. The good news is NZXT includes lots of cable management anchors here. So all these here, 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 and just generally all over the place, allow you to anchor down cables just like they've done here to make sure that everything lays flat enough that you're going to be able to close the case once you are done with it. I think that pretty much covers everything I wanted to say about the back. So the last thing I want to do is throw a power supply in here just to check out this included lighting system. The integrated fan controller is outstanding. So it turns out that that's the Molex plug. All you got to do is use the selector up here, which is the middle one, to go, okay, so to front, back. So here we can actually see the brightness of the LED indicates how much power is being delivered to it, to the fan. So go around and check out the back fan. I'm going to turn it all the way down, and it's actually going to turn that fan right off. Very, very cool, although the included fans are very quiet anyway. So here, I'm turning it back on now. So that's a really neat feature, and it turns out the SATA power is for the integrated LED lighting. So let's go ahead and turn that on so you can see things are lit up green. I'm going to go ahead and sort of kill the lights in here so I can give you guys a better look at how this case looks with the integrated lighting effects. So actually, it lights it up really, really well. You get a nice even glow inside, and I'm going to go ahead and see what we can do in terms of changing things. So I don't know what this does. Oh, okay. Oh, cool. Ooh, that's neat. So it goes all the way up to white. There you go. And don't forget, it's up here as well. So there's lighting here. Did you see the one over here? I don't know if you ever saw that one. So there's one here. So that changes colors as well. And then the ones inside. And then you can also... there's the I/O LED. So if you want to find a way to plug your cables in the dark, there's just a front switch there, including your PCI slots, which is very, very cool as well. And then there's LED modes. So there's, oh, okay. There we go. So we'll cycle through these. So there's none, inside only, which turns off the one over here. And then there's inside and outside. So let's go ahead, cycle through those colors a little bit. Very, very cool. That's the one I'd go with. That looks awesome. I think I'm in the wrong mode. Haha, there we go. Nice, like, fuchsia interior lighting. Ballin'. Thank you for checking out my unboxing and first look at the Phantom 820 from NZXT. Don't forget to subscribe to Linus Tech Tips for more unboxings, reviews, and other computer videos.